The Black Death did not originate in Europe. Rather, it is speculated to have begun somewhere in northern India or southern China, as early as the 1330s. By the end of 1346, reports of plague and war had reached the seaports of Europe. The reports were devastating, but the people never imagined that the plague would come their way. Rather, they found the Mongol and Crimean War more threatening, should the Mongols continue their conquest. During one siege of the Crimean trading city Kaffa, Mongols under the command of Jani Beg performed one of the earliest uses of germ warfare by catapulting their dead, plague-infected soldiers over the walls of the city. Within days, the entire area was infected and dying. Genoese merchants, terrified of the disease and the war, fled Crimea, bringing the disease with them. They were turned away from many ports because the harbor masters could see they were dying of a strange illness and were afraid. Those Sicilian harbor masters were also frightened. They allowed the merchants a few short hours to stock up in isolation before sending them on their way, long enough for the infected rats to climb ashore and begin the infection of Europe. Barely days after the Genoese ships made port, the first cases were being reported. Within a week, those same cases were dead. From there, the plague spread to Genoa and Venice by the turn of 1347 to 1348. In the beginning, when the number of dead was low, private graves were dug. But as the numbers rose, the care for dead fell. Private graves changed to mass graves, where bodies were dumped in holes together. As population dwindled and disease continued to spread, that small comfort vanished and bodies littered the streets everywhere. While the bubonic plague is officially recognized as the Black Death, it must be noted that it was not the only one affecting Europe and Asia. The three diseases that destroyed Europe were the bubonic, pneumonic, and septicemic plagues. While all three were deadly even with the treatments of the time, the bubonic was the most survivable, with a 50% mortality rate. Medieval doctors could not diagnose the disease properly at those times. It was generally believed that the disease was transmitted through physical contact. The plague doctor costume appeared on the base of those views. The mask, with its bird beak and leather hat, was supposed to make a person look like an Egyptian divinity to scare off the disease. The beak, however, was actually a protective device to save the doctor from the unbearable stench of infection. The beak was filled with medical herbs to ease the breathing process. The mask had 2 vent holes and glass inserts to protect the eyes. The doctor also wore a long waxed raincoat and thick fabric clothes to help him avoid flea bites and physical contact with patients. An outbreak of the plague would stay in one area for about 3 months before another large outbreak would occur elsewhere. By 1350, the plague had run its course.